So we need to talk about a term right now that was, well, once it was seen as a bit of a dirty phrase within the world of professional wrestling. It was even a set of words that were weaponized by WWE's biggest rival. Words that used to send a shiver right up your spine at the thought of them. I'm of course talking about sports entertainment, my friends, but weirdly enough, we're now actually living in a time where WWE, yes, World Wrestling Entertainment, have actually only gone and started doing sports entertainment, well, pretty well. And not only that, they're actually finding a way to do it pretty damn perfectly, but how? How have WWE of all places managed to do this after all these years? Well, I'm glad you asked, because I've got a whole video I'm about to do. I'm going to say some words at you in a very colourful way. You can have a good time, so let's get to it. Because I am Gareth, this is What Culture Wrestling, and here is how WWE is finally perfecting sports entertainment. So before we really get into how WWE have finally managed to somehow perfect this crazy thing we call sports entertainment, well, what we're going to do first is define it. We need to talk about what exactly it is, so here goes according to the internet. So, sports entertainment is a type of spectacle which presents an ostensibly competitive event using a high level of theatrical flourish and extravagant presentation with the purpose of entertaining an audience. So what that pretty much means is we're talking about the theatrical and extravagant side of professional wrestling, not all the technical stuff going on in between the ropes. Sports entertainment doesn't necessarily have to be this big old bad thing, but because of the years and years and years of terrible sports entertainment that we got in WWE, it's become like two words that people just hate. They just recoil at the sound of them. It's not hard to see why. We've had loads of goofy, awful stories over the years. You've had terrible characters, awful payoffs to long-term storylines. That kind of stuff just makes people think of sports entertainment and go, I don't want any of that in my wrestling. Get it away. It got to the point where people were just crying out for a change. They were sick of the sports entertainment life, and that's why we got something like AEW, because that was more like sports oriented. It was more about competitiveness in between the ropes. The stories were a lot more coherent. They made sense, whereas WWE's was just silly. It was just a lot of silliness and goo and people having their eyes poked out in matches. It was nonsense. But then something quite interesting happened a couple of years ago, because Vince McMahon, for reasons you already probably know, and if you don't, they're there on the internet, go and check them out, he ended up leaving WWE. He ended up leaving his position as the head of creative, and then after this, a lot of WWE's worst tropes and worst things that they relied on in the world of sports entertainment, they just started disappearing. And what do you know, this actually led to a product and just overall viewing experience that was just a lot better, and it made more sense, and it was easier to digest, and people started to get a bit more invested in it. Stories actually started to, make sense, and they were being told over a longer period of time with a lot of detail and a lot of care being put into these tales as well. And wrestlers have just generally been taking more chances, both with their characters and in their storylines. They've been pitching stuff that may have seemed a bit wild, a bit bold many years ago, and it would have just been scoffed at and thrown out the window, whereas now they try things, and it's just led to an overall feeling within this product that it just feels fresh and exciting. It feels like we're in the Attitude Era again, but just in a different way. And it is a bit ironic that the storytelling and soap opera element within WWE has seemingly gotten better, just as the company has seemed to have abandoned that term sports entertainment. Because around WrestleMania 40, I seem to remember that a lot of people were like, we're not talking about sports entertainment anymore, this is WWE and we do wrestling here, wrestling stories. But in the months before that, and even the months that have followed, it just feels like the sports entertainment factor has been better than ever before. Like, even though WWE were seemingly leaving behind the sports entertainment stuff at WrestleMania 40, that was still very much sports entertainment just personified, really. Look at it. It was incredible, huge entrances. The characters were just ridiculous. You had the final boss there, main event in a WrestleMania. Like, that is not just like your typical grappling pro wrestler. That is a sports entertainment giant entertaining people in sports. But the key thing within sports entertainment that WWE have really been perfecting over the last, couple of years really, is the week-to-week soap opera that is wrestling. Because there was a point then, not too long ago really, where it felt like every single show that you watched, be it Raw, SmackDown, even NXT, it felt like things were just sometimes changing week to week. There was no clear thought-out plan for weeks and months and even years in advance. It was just like, okay, how do we feel about this wrestler today? Great. Okay, we're going to do that with you. And now today, no, we have no plans for you. Get out. And it's like, what? And this would often just lead to developments that made no sense whatsoever. You'd have a guy guy that was like looking to challenge for the world title one week, and then the next week he was having green goo poured on his head. It just happened. It happened all the time in WWE, and we just became accustomed to it. And again, that is what we link to sports entertainment, and that's why we didn't like it. But now in 2024, we are living in a time where stories aren't just carefully thought out anymore. They are mapped out for a long old time. Just look at the Drew McIntyre CM Punk storyline that we've been living through recently. That is like the key example of this right now. Like, that storyline from the second that Punk got injured just appeared to be something where everyone just sat down together and went, right, here's what we're going to aim for. We're going to aim for Drew versus Punk at some point in the future, like a couple months time. How are we going to get there? Let's figure it out, and let's just not stray away from this. We can be a bit creative. We can take like a few little chances here or there, and if something just feels right in the moment, we can throw it in there, but let's not abandon this course. That is where we're heading to, and that's what we're going to stick to. And that's what they did, and it honestly led to some of the most gripping week-to-week television that I've ever seen. And these guys didn't even touch for months because they couldn't physically do it because of Punk's injury, so you had to like think outside the box and have certain promo exchanges, have like Punk cost Drew in creative ways, like without having a full-on brawl. It was sports entertainment at its absolute best because it felt different, it felt fresh, it felt like something I'd not seen before, but I needed to see the next week's episode because the way that the story was told the week before, it was just cliffhangers, 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 and that is what you need to do in sports entertainment to get people hooked. Like, honestly, not that long ago, again, we would have been in a position here with this Punk-McIntyre feud where if Punk had gone down injured, then they probably would have just changed their minds within a couple of weeks. It just would have happened. Like, the crazy old billionaire would have looked at Drew McIntyre and gone, you know what, I'm not going to wait that long now. Drew, you're going to go and win a battle royal, or go in the mid-card, or eat some dog food, do something stupid, and people would have just been like, oh, we're just forgetting the Punk stuff now? You got this great storyline, we're just going to forget it? Great. It happened. It happened so often, it made me tear my hair out. WWE were responsible for this. Rather than just panicking and changing direction when something goes slightly not according to plan, though, in WWE today, we just use those things. We use those hurdles, those obstacles to our advantage and fold them into the story and just keep on going where we're going in the future. And that has led to these incredible programs like Punk and Drew, the Bloodline stuff. Like, we just pivot. We pivot in a way that's not completely pulling a storyline to pieces just because it's not gone entirely according to plan. Now look, this isn't me saying that the only way to entertain people, like in the world of wrestling, is by getting people to stand on the opposite side of a ring and scream at each other on the mic and do loads of wacky shenanigans outside of the ring. Obviously, there are other ways to do it, like telling stories in the actual matches. And AEW, I think, are the absolute kings of this. They tell some absolutely brilliant, subtle and detailed stories in between the ropes. So if you want that, if you need that, if that's what really entertains you at your core, then they got you covered there. But if you're looking for more sports entertainment, like larger-than-life theatrics and that kind of stuff, then WWE right now is just the place to be. And that is a weird sentence to say after all these years, because there's been a lot of silliness, there's been a lot of anonymous GMs and terrible payoffs to terrible soap opera storylines over the years. But now we're in a position where, I don't know, it just feels like every single story that is currently playing out on WWE over weeks and weeks and weeks feels like it's going to have a substantial payoff down the road. And speaking of which, SummerSlam was a perfect example of WWE just being able to finally pay off things in a great way, because they have had that patience and had that foresight to see what they wanted to achieve later down the road, and they've just stuck to it, and they've taken different paths, they've done what it is. Like, we've heard Triple H talking about it in documentaries. Like, he says he sets a point in the future, and then you've just got to like figure out how you're going to get there. It's like doing your GPS. You put your point in there, and then your GPS will figure out the best route as you go. And that's why we got things like the Tribal Chief's epic return, and like the Liv Morgan, Dominic Mysterio, Rhea Ripley turn, all that stuff. That paid off for how well it did, because it was something that was stuck to. It was all part of the plan. It wasn't just made up as we went along. It wasn't just like a stupid thing where Vince McMahon's woken up one morning and going, you know what, yeah, we're going to have Hornswoggle be the person behind this laptop stuff. Yeah, what could go wrong? Like, WWE in 2024 has proven that sports entertainment as like a concept was never the problem. It was the person holding the pen that was the problem. Triple H and his booking squad planting these seeds and actually giving them the time and attention really needed for them to grow into these epic moments isn't the only way that WWE are perfecting sports entertainment right now, though. The way that they're presenting new characters and also allowing pre-existing characters to really grow into three-dimensional human beings in front of our eyes has also really massively contributed to the success that they're experiencing right now. In the current landscape, though, your LA Knights, your Wyatt Sixes, they are just being given that space to try things and fail, because not everything's going to work, but you need to go out there, take a few swings, and you will hit at least one of them. It's going to happen, and that is, for me, I think LA Knight's the key one. The LA Knight's the one that really sticks in my head because of what happened in the months leading up to him finally becoming LA Knight in the main roster. Because of course, Vince McMahon did not like the guy at all, had him just strip away all the LA Knight yeah stuff and be Max Dupree, and then that didn't work. He was rubbing people up the wrong way. It was very like old, terrible sports entertainment, that all the model stuff with that particular character. But then as soon as Triple H came in, he was like, just do the version of sports entertainment you've been doing so well for so many years and just we'll try it in front of people. And if I remember rightly, it wasn't just a straight up like, we love you LA Knight straight away as soon as he walked out on SmackDown as him. It took a little bit. It took a little bit of time, but then as they give him time, as they give him that freedom on the mic just to express himself, you know what? People saw it. They saw the genuine guy underneath that. They liked chanting along with catchphrases, and that's what sports entertainment is. It's just hearing people say goofy stuff, reacting, and having a good time with it. And it's led to him becoming one of the most popular guys on the roster. That is a fully sports entertainment guy. When I think of sports entertainment wrestlers, you look at your LA Knights and I'm like, yeah, maybe not the most technically proficient and incredible performer you'll ever see in between the ropes, but as a character, as somebody who entertains the crap out of me, he's the guy. And it's worked with so many other people within WWE recently as well. Like WWE have found ways to make Jey Uso into a more sports entertainment friendly kind of character because he's doing his yeet thing and he's popping his hands and like the Firefly stuff. All that is just, it's simple, really easy to get along with and connect with character stuff that just makes what's actually going down in between the ropes, I don't know, not the most important thing. Like, no offense to Jey Uso, I love Jey Uso, can't even say his name, I love him so much, but the actual wrestling, it's not his strong point, it's not the best part of his game, it's the character work, it's the entertainment side of it, that is where he's excelled, and that's why he's become one of the most beloved guys in all of wrestling right now. There are so many others that this applies to as well, your Dominic Mysterios, your Damian Priest, Chad Gable, Liv Morgan, all these people that over the last couple of years have really been given just the ball. They've gone, right, there's the ball, see what you can do with it, and just be authentically yourself, just try and dial yourself up a little bit and see if the audience connects with you. See what happens, just see what happens. So you know what's happened? People have liked it. They've liked what they've seen because it's not been silly, it's not been stupid, nobody's been forced to dress up as a vampire and suck each other's blood. And honestly, you can just expect the weekly sports entertainment soap opera side of WWE to just be dialed up even more. They're going to have even more storylines just playing out over a longer period of time in the coming years because they've just signed this Netflix deal, this huge Netflix deal. It's going to be a game changer. They're going to have more eyes on them than ever before. And what are people coming to Netflix for? More often than not, it's dramas, isn't it? It's like TV shows and it's like they want their fix of soap opera kind of stuff, and that's what you're going to get with WWE. So I think it makes a lot of sense, and it feels like they are just going to fully lean into that even more than ever before in the coming years. And it's WWE's perfecting of sports entertainment, the way they've done it by creating all these characters that you really do give a damn about for a change, and storylines that you're allowed to be invested in because you know your faith in them is going to be rewarded. All of this is now leading to each and every big event that's on the horizon being bigger than the one that came before it, which sounds incredible to say after the last couple of years that we've had in WWE, where every single WrestleMania, Royal Rumble, whatever they are, they've just felt like they can never be topped. They're still finding a way to do it because these storylines are just going on and on and on and on and on without feeling bored. They're finding new ways to pump life into them. Look at your Judgment Day storyline. That's a really big one. Because that was one that for me, personally, I felt like it was running out of steam coming into WrestleMania. I was like, I'm getting a bit bored now. Don't know what we're going to do with Damian Priest and everyone else. But like, we're going to get to a point now, after all the big split, all that, it feels like there's legs in it. There's more fuel, there's more gas in this tank right now that could take us all the way through SummerSlam to even WrestleMania 41, and my god, WrestleMania 41 is looking huge now because of all this sports entertainment perfection that we've seen. Because you got the Cody, the Rock stuff, all those seeds were planted like at the end of this year's WrestleMania, but they've been slowly just simmering underneath the surface over the last couple of months. All the Bloodline Civil War stuff, that kicked off right after WrestleMania as well, and that has been week to week, month to month, told expertly well, even if you're not the biggest fan of every single piece of that puzzle. Like, it's all leading towards something. After the Roman Reigns return, it feels like it's going to be the biggest thing on planet Earth when Roman and Solo finally come to blows and Roman and Jacob Fatu beat the snot out of each other. Oh, it's going to be great. Hell, you could maybe even like push Damian Priest versus Finn Balor all the way back to WrestleMania 41. I don't know. I trust in this process now. I think that's a big thing that's happened over the last couple of years because of the way these stories are being told, the way sports entertainment's finally been just tuned and perfected over the last couple of years. People have finally they believe in that process again. That was a term that was used for so many years. I just trust in the process, I'll see what happens with WWE, and it never paid off, and it became almost a joke, almost a meme in itself. But now we live in a world where, yeah, you're allowed to believe in this process. And that's without even factoring in other storylines that have been sports entertaining out the ass recently, like your Bianca Belair, Jade Cargill stuff. Like, they've been great for the tag division, but you know that's going to implode at some point, and that'll be another gripping tale. Hell, we could finally get an intergender match at WrestleMania. You could finally have Rhea Ripley just beating the hell out of Dominic Mysterio. I could see that happening. I don't know. If ever there was a dynamic that worked for that, a relationship that worked for that in modern day wrestling, I would see that. I want to see Dommy get his ass whooped. And while we're talking about all the incredible storylines that have been told in WWE over the last 2 years, I want to know right now what's been your favourite? What's been the best one in your mind that springs to mind? You go, that's the one that's lit my heart on fire. That's my favourite. Put it in the comment section down below, and we'll all just talk about it. We'll have a good time. We'll celebrate it, and then we'll all hug virtually. Yay! And then just to top everything off, you've got Mr. Sports Entertainment himself, John Cena, just coming back into this WWE system at a time when sports entertainment has never been done better. It just feels like a match made in heaven. He's going to have a hell of a WrestleMania send-off. It's going to be magnificent. I'm so geared up for that WrestleMania. So to sum up, the excitement and the genuine love and just commitment and passion that we feel towards WWE right now at this current moment in time, towards the wrestlers, the matches, the storylines, all of it, at the centre of that is the fact that they've now figured out a way to successfully and consistently do sports entertainment the way it should have always been done. Without the crappy payoffs and the just silly, pointless swerve turns for the sake of it. No longer are we having our intelligence insulted by heel turns that just not working being shoved down our throat. The audience are being listened to for a change, which is a good old feeling. People are responding well to detailed and flawed characters that are just entertaining. That is what sports entertainment should have always been, not people having dog food put down the throat. I've mentioned it twice, but that will always stick in my brain, and dressing up in dog mascots. That whole storyline was a terrible thing. If you know, you know. It's there. It was a bad time. The secret ingredient all along, who'd have guessed it, was consistency. Just be consistent. Just have a point that you want to go towards and stick to it. Just keep the faith, and the people will come. They have come. They have not stopped coming. It's just been people coming and coming and coming. I need to stop saying that word. But finally, it feels like those dark days of sports entertainment being a dirty set of words are over. And the era of perfect sports entertainment has seemingly only just begun. Thank you very much for watching this video today, you lovely person. If you have enjoyed what you've watched today, this very moment, well, go and click on another one, because there's other videos. Right? There's even more things that you'll just enjoy feeding your eyeballs. So click on them, have a good time, and you can thank me later. Why not? Bye-bye.